This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Hello, good morning. It's Mark Leibovit. Welcome to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, July 22nd. And, this is our 38th anniversary publishing VRTrader.com. And though we've been on the air here only a couple of years, it's a big day for us and very excited. You may remember me as being one of the former elves on the old Louis Rukeyser TV show from the 1980s, 1990s, and a market monitor guest with Paul Kangas. So we've been doing this a long time, and we're very thrilled to be doing this Wall Street Raw show every Saturday. And if you don't get it live, we are archived, and we try to jam-pack it with some great interviews. So let's kick it off with our first interview of today with Jeff Bishop. Welcome back, Jeff Bishop, to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning and Saturday evening, depending on when you're listening to the show. Jeff was on the show last week. He's a great trader, and he's involved with two websites, topstockpicks.com and ragingbull.com. And last week he gave us a couple really good recommendations, and hopefully you benefited from that, both long the bond market and long gold. And obviously we like to hear winning trades on our show. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us and coming back.
Yeah, it's great to be here again. Thanks for having me.
Okay, those markets got a little overdone to the downside, and bonds needed to rally, you said, and gold, and here we are. How do you feel now?
Yeah, well, I did call the gold rally, though I didn't participate in that one. The trades kind of got away from me a little too fast, but I did have a great week. Bonds, on the other hand, had a great trade on this week, both TLT calls all throughout the week, so I sold the last of my position today, and that ended up being a really good trade. I think last week when I was here, TLT was making a base around the 122 level, and today we're close to 126 on that. So it was a pretty good move for something that doesn't normally make a big move in a week.
You were also leveraged. I believe you gave us TMF, which was triple long as well, correct?
That's right. Yeah, so TMF is the ETF that we were in with the topstockpicks.com newsletter. In that newsletter, we only trade ETFs, and that was the ETF play. So that one did well, of course, but the options really have the most bang for the buck. In
a few seconds we have, tell us a little bit about what you are looking at now and your general strategy for investors who come to your website.
Yeah, so on both those trades, gold and with bonds. So gold we weren't in. Bonds, we're just selling the last piece of that today. So I really feel like that move has made the meat of that move at this point. I expect a pullback in the intermediate, so we'll be looking to rebuy bonds on a dip. And the same for gold. If gold has a pullback, I'll be looking to buy gold. We also started shorting oil yesterday. I feel that trade it really moved too fast, so I don't want to get into oil at this point, but I do feel like it's going to base out. If you're looking at that, look at USO around the $9.20 level going into next week.
Okay, and would you go long if it got down to that level?
Yeah, at around $9.20, I think USO is a great spot to look for a long position. We're currently short, but we expect to cover before then.
Jeff, it was a pleasure having you on the show again. Great ideas. Traders like to keep it short and sweet, and you're certainly doing that. Jeff Bishop from topstockpicks.com and ragingbull.com. Go to those websites and sign up for those services. Great services. Jeff, thank you again, and we'll have you back real soon.
Thanks so much. Have a great week.
Same to you. Welcoming a special guest to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning, Petra Hess. She's with RagingBull.com, and she's been trading actively for about 8 years, and she developed educational courses how to trade. And basically, after trading mostly Canadian and mid-cap large U.S. stocks, she's identified chart patterns that tend to recur, and she's got her own product and website, and it's really a pleasure having her on the show. Thank you, Petra, for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about what you do at RagingBull.com, and then after that we can talk about what you're thinking about now, what our listeners might be interested in buying or selling.
I have a service called Petra Picks where I put out trade ideas for large and mid-cap U.S. and Canadian stocks, and it also has a very large educational component to the website.
Are you mostly technical?
Mostly a technical trader, very technical.
Okay. And basically what I read on your site is you learned through the school of hard knocks to try to be patient and wait for your trades to set up, correct?
I certainly did. When I first started trading, I threw a lot of money at the market and found out that the market isn't kind and takes it back, chasing stocks that were going up and putting way too much into the trade. And now I sit back, I've identified chart patterns that work for me, and now I just sit back patiently and wait for those patterns to occur.
So you're bullish on mining stocks. Tell us a little bit about your opinion and what's happening in that sector.
Well, being in Canada, we're very resource-driven anyway, but I'm bullish on gold and silver going into the next few months. First off, it's seasonality. Mining stocks tend to bottom out coming into the end of July, beginning of August, and I'm seeing that on the charts happening. Also, I follow India very closely because India ranks second in the world in gold consumption. China's first. But India has already bought more gold in 2017 up till the end of June than they did in all of 2016. So based on some of the larger miners that I look at, like Royal Gold, Franco-Nevada, and Newmont Mines, three of my favorites, sitting, especially with Royal Gold, at almost at all-time highs, it's really setting up to be a sweet spot to get into some mining stocks.
Okay, you gave us some good names, and you would also buy the physical as well, or no?
I own some physical gold myself, have for a long, long time, and the way I play physical gold is either with the ETF, the GLD, and the SLV for silver. Those are the two ETFs that you can use to own physical gold and silver. And then there's a fund here in Canada, and I'm trying to think of its name. I know it's ticker symbol CEF.A, and they hold physical gold and silver. That's the only way I play the physical. Right,
Central Fund of Canada. Been around a long time.
Fund, that's it, yes.
Petra, thank you for coming into our world this Saturday morning and teaching us a little bit about your approach. How do our listeners reach you?
You can come to my website, www.petrapicks.com, and there's all kinds of information there.
Thank you, Petra. We'll have you back on the show real soon. Petra Hess from RagingBull.com and PetraPicks.com. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Petra, for joining us on this Saturday morning. We have a jam-packed show here for you today. We try to do that for you every week. We have Harry Boxer going to be joining us, Henry Weingarten, Don Viola will be up shortly, and, of course, our good friend Sinclair will be joining us and talking a little bit about the Eat the Bankers section. I guess what the banks are doing badly this week. We have a little comment about that. We also have a special guest. We're attending the Freedom Fest here in Las Vegas, and it's a jam-packed show, conservative, libertarian, but also a lot of stock market people. We were hoping to have Jim Rogers on the show, but we couldn't quite get him. Hopefully we'll do that for a future interview. He's here along with Steve Forbes and a lot of other notables. Meanwhile, JAYANT BHANDARI is going to be with us on the show coming up shortly as well, talking about the cash crunch that occurred in India this past year and the war on cash that seems to be prevalent. And speaking about that, I want to thank Swiss America for being a sponsor of our show. If you want more information from Swiss America and get the secret war on cash and don't bank on it free, call their 800 number 289-2646. More on that later. Stay tuned. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
For P150, P150GA, P150NY, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states. If New York or Colorado, call for a similar offer.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company, 1-800-656-9775. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. Call now for a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-656-9775. That's 1-800-656-9775. 1-800-656-9775.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas smoke emergency while traveling at home or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape Smoke Hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off, plus free shipping.
Love or loathe him, Donald J. Trump is our 45th president. There is no denying now that Trump will go down in history, both despised and admired. Commemorate Trump's presidency with your very own Trump Silver Bust from TrumpSilverStatue.com. This museum-quality heirloom Trump Silver Statue bust is hand-cast from 20 troy ounces of silver, a great investment. From TrumpSilverStatue.com. Loathed or loved, own a valuable piece of Trump's legacy. Get your solid silver Trump bust today at TrumpSilverStatue.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
At Humalife, we believe your health is your wealth. That's why we offer an exclusive, potent, and pure selection of OMRI-certified 100% organic humic and fulvic acid concentrates. These two acids stop viruses and harmful bacteria and increase frequency, vibration, and vitality. In fact, they're called the missing link to your health. Pure liquid organic ATP energy rebuilds and regrows the immune system. You are the doctor at Humalife. You know best because you are the test. Find out more at HumalifeUSA.com. That's HumalifeUSA.com.
Think big. Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcoming a very special guest to Wall Street Raw, JAYANT Bhandari, who is a speaker here at Freedom Fest in Las Vegas, and he's currently traveling the world looking for investment opportunities, particularly in the natural resource sector, but he has expertise on the political, economic, and cultural issues, particularly in India. Let's talk about what's going on and what your presentation was like here at the conference.
Thanks for having me, Mark. India is becoming a police state. Government is trying to increasingly take control of people's private lives. They have imposed new taxes. Everything needs to be digitalized. They have attempted to remove cash from the economy. That has caused a huge amount of grief in the societies. Tens of millions of people have lost their livelihood. People are going hungry. Food prices even today are half as expensive as they used to be. And the reason is that poor people can no longer buy food. So there might be a huge amount of hunger set into the society already. It's a vicious cycle right now because once you try to remove cash, even if you infuse cash back into the society, organs would have started failing by then. Business continue to fail, people continue to be laid off, and that's the situation with India today.
Why is there war on cash going on worldwide, and why did India choose to do this now, do you think?
Governments want to take control of people's private life. They don't like you being a free man. You should be a cog, a nice shining cog in a big machine. And that's what Narendra Modi, Indian Prime Minister, tried to implement. He also wanted to please his Western leaders. He likes to be seen as an international leader, and he's not. But he thought it would give him good marks, good brownie points for doing this.
So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, JAYANT, how do they do that?
My website is jayantbhandari.com, and everything I do is on it.
Could you spell that out for us now?
JAYANTBHANDARI.com.
Thank you, JAYANT, for being with us. And there's a short interview, but we have a lot of guests here at Freedom Fest, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
Welcome back, my good friend and regular guest to Wall Street Raw, Harry Boxer from the TechTrader.com. Harry runs a live trading room which features his trade alerts and technical market analysis. He's only been doing this for about 50 years, and he's the author of the Profitable Day in Swing Trading book, which is named by Stock Traders Almanac as a 2015 Best Investment Book of the Year. Harry's my favorite trading friend. He comes up with the greatest intraday ideas, and you got to sign up to the TechTrader.com if you're really watching the market intraday, because Harry picks them. Thank you for joining us, Harry.
My pleasure.
What's hot today, Harry?
TEAR. This company called Tier Lab exploded from the get-go, and early on this morning, when it crossed $2, I put a buyout on it about $2.15. It's currently $3.70 high for the day, and it looks like it could be 4.5 or 5 before the day's over. It's amazing. What a big percentage gain that's. It's up 110% today on 15 million shares.
What is Tier Lab? Do you know what business it is?
It says healthcare sector, diagnostics, and research. And I think they are involved with for the eyes.
Okay, Tier, that makes sense, TEAR, and they traded, we're doing this interview during the day on Friday in the morning. It's already traded 15 million shares, so obviously it's a long way from getting a total volume figure.
And biotechs are having a good day, looks like. Several stocks we follow, like Tesaro, 138.7 up about almost 8, is having a good day, and several other stocks in that group doing well.
Gilead's on the move, GILD.
Well, I told my people last week, if you look at Gilead's chart, after a big downtrend, and I mean for a year and a half, it broke out and pulled back right to the moving average. And I told my people at 69 it was probably a buy for a swing to 75. Well, it's 74.31 right now, and it looks to me like it could be 80.82 on this next move up.
Yeah, that's another hot one. Little pop in the gold and silver here.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. We day trade on JNUG today, but I'm not convinced yet. But I'd love to see it. Very high in that little gold stock that you and I follow called USA Gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if gold gets hot, that could really run. That could double or triple in the next 6 months, I think.
Yeah, that's USAU as a symbol on that one. Okay.
And the reason is that it's a quality company with real quality management and strictly a gold play, but it didn't actually go public. It did a reverse merger with a DRAM, and a lot of people aren't really aware of it yet. So I think they've only been public via that reverse merger about 4, 5, 6 weeks, so something like that. And, when it starts to get well-known and researched, I think you'll start to see that stock move dramatically.
Harry, thank you for joining us. We try to do a quick 2-3 minutes with Harry every week. Harry Boxer from the TechTrader.com, and we'll speak to you next week, Harry. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Harry. And listen, speaking about the market this past week, it appears that stocks pulled back from record highs earlier in the week, and particularly that Dow Transportation Average, which has been a leader. We keep talking about on the show. Well, it topped out a week ago Friday, and it's been in a downtrend all week, so that's not a particularly good sign. We are entering a seasonally negative period here in the market, particularly the August-September time frame. So I'm a little more cautious than usual, but we do trade at vrtrader.com, and as you can hear from many of our guests, plenty of action in many individual situations, regardless of what the market's doing. Gold may be moving, and of course, Bitcoin is also a big possibility as we get closer and closer to an exchange-traded fund possibly being authorized by the SEC, and that'll give us another trading opportunity. Though, as I've told you, we are trading that GBTC. I want to talk real briefly about our good friends at Swiss America. I basically have an urgent question for you, for every listener with a bank account, stock portfolio, or 401k retirement account. We now know that nothing on online world is really private or safe or from being hacked, including national secrets held by CIA, NSA, and top intelligence agencies. So what can we do to protect our hard-earned money and privacy from cyber theft? Well, Swiss America, old friends of mine, a firm committed to public education, has just published a new booklet, Don't Bank on It. They also have the great book that Craig Smith wrote, Secret War on Cash, and you've seen this heard on it on the show and Fox News, and a free copy of both books are available. You just simply have to call 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. And you have to mention that you heard it on Wall Street Raw and from Mark Leibovit. So again, contact Swiss America for your free copy of Don't Bank on It and The Secret War in Cash by calling 800-289-2646. Don't want you to touch the dial here. We still have a lot coming up on our show this Saturday. We still have Don Vialou in the green room. Sinclair No going to be joining us as well. And don't want to forget about our good friend Henry Weingarten, who'll be out there as well. So still a lot coming up on the Saturday. We've had a very active week in the markets, but seems to be getting a little tired here, as I mentioned a moment ago. So got to keep above board here and watch the indicators. Of course, the trend has been your friend, and we've been climbing a wall of worry for the last 6-7 years. No matter what the news is, the market still seems to want to go higher. And we know the reason for that, folks. Very low interest rates, rigged markets. So we're playing the game, and I'd encourage you to check with our website, vrtrader.com, for more information on all our services, which includes our exciting Cannabis Vice letter, Gold letter, our Platinum Silver letter, and of course my book, The Trader's Book of Volume. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with our good friend Sinclair.
Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
My friend, for years, Swiss America and I have been warning about the unsafe world of modern banking, in which merely holding cash might be a crime. Today, if you decide to withdraw cash, be prepared to explain why or fill out forms. So why are honest citizens suddenly being treated like criminals? That's the subject of two complimentary Swiss America special reports, The Secret War on Cash and The 10 Consequences of a Cashless World. Why don't you call Swiss America now for these free reports? 800-289-2646. Again, 800-289-2646. Does a cashless world concern you? It ought to. New government capital controls are targeting citizen savings and retirement funds. Take it from Pat Boone. These reports will explain what you can do about it. Call 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
Against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back, Sinclair. No, my good friend from KFNN 1510 Phoenix and author of the incomparable blog, EatTheBankers.com. Good morning, Sinclair. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Well, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, leading right off with banks behaving badly and the EatTheBankers.com great blog. I read this week that BNP Paribas was fined $246 million over currency manipulation. No surprise there, huh?
No, this has been an ongoing situation, and it's resulted in a couple of $2 billion in fines against 7 banks tied to this Forex scandal. That includes Barclays, Royal Bank of Scotland, Deutsche Bank, UBS, JP Morgan, Chase, of course. They're always right there, aren't they? And basically, they rigged the Forex market. They would chat online, share information about currency bids, and they just rigged everything, and we've known this for a while, and finally they're going to collect, about $250 million from BNP.
Well, this doesn't mean the rigging isn't going to continue in another manner. We've learned that, right?
We've learned that. And $250 million, I think the banks look at this as the cost of doing business. The crazy part, and the part that just drives me up a wall, is they come to a fine with these banks, and they usually have a do not prosecute agreement in there, basically saying you're on probation. If you do this again, we're going to come after you. We can use all this against you, but they never come after them. It's parole violation after parole violation, and the guy never gets sent back to jail, right?
Yeah, here in Vegas, I'm attending Freedom Fest, as I told you, and they're releasing O.J. Simpson, so very similar, right?
Yeah. Well, the juice is loose, and so is BNP Paribas.
Well, let's see. Our good friend Jamie Dimon, he blasted the U.S. position. This was last week, but I thought it was an important one. He said it was almost an embarrassment being an American, and I, frankly, with our Eat the Bankers and our discussions regarding what the banks have been doing, I think it's more of an embarrassment to be part of J.P. Morgan Chase.
Well, yeah, if you had to choose between one and the other, I'll choose to be an American.
Right. I mean, there's all 11 lawsuits against J.P. Morgan regarding silver manipulation in recent years. All kinds of good stuff.
Oh, there is a long, long list of J.P. Morgan Chase behaving badly. I've seen lists that stretch out over 40 pages since the turn of the millennium. It just goes on and on and on. And it seems as if, we were just talking about the Forex rigging. J.P. Morgan Chase was part of that. What are they not a part of? And yet they still seem to pull down a big profit. They reported a little over $7 billion in profit for the second quarter, 13% higher than last year. They've made over $26 billion over the past 12 months. That's a record profit for a U.S. bank. Jamie Dimon, for all that he does wrong, he does make money for J.P. Morgan Chase, and that's why he is still there.
I guess so. Well, we read this week that the Fed is on course for gradual rate increases. No surprise. We've been talking about this for several months, but Bill Gross came out with a warning this week, too.
Yeah, Bill Gross is worried about it. Now, of course, next week the Federal Reserve will be meeting an FOMC policy meeting. We're not expecting anything out of this meeting. Unless you disagree, I don't think there's anything that's going to come out of it.
It's summertime. I don't think they want to do anything and ruin people's vacations.
I think what the Fed is going to do is probably initiate a trimming of the balance sheet in September, and then one more rate hike, in December. That's probably the path that they are on at this point. And it looks kind of like the ECB is kind of standing back as well. The ECB came out with a stand-pat decision this week as well. Policymakers over in the ECB are currently buying about $70 billion worth of debt per month. And the question is, when are they going to change that? Well, we know they're going to keep it up to at least December. Draghi this week told reporters that he was putting off a formal debate for a while. And it all sounded rather dovish on the part of Draghi. And you might wonder, well, why did the euro jump so much? Basically, he didn't dwell on the strength of the euro, and that was a green light for currency traders. And we saw the euro jump up over $1.16 for the first time in over a year because Draghi just can't say FX and policy in the same sentence. Bill Gross warning about looming interest rate increases and the damage that can do to a global economy that has a tremendous amount of debt. He's worried about households as well as businesses. Households have nearly $15 trillion in debt. Businesses in the U.S., $13.7 trillion. He thinks governments will be able to deal with the debt, but it may present difficulties for households and businesses alike, and he's worried about it.
Well, we just ran out of time, Sinclair, so we'll have to pick up next week. Thank you again for joining us, Sinclair No from KFN at 1510 and author of the blog, incomparable blog, eatthebankers.com. Thanks again, Sinclair.
Thanks, Mark.
Welcome back our regular and always special guest, Don VIALOUX, who's the past president of the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts, but he was also the advisor to the very important Horizon Seasonal Rotation ETF from 2009 to 2015, so it's always great getting a portfolio manager on the phone. He also is the author of two great websites, timingthemarket.ca and equityclock.com. Thank you, Don, for joining us this Saturday morning.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
So we had some news this morning on the Canadian dollar. Didn't really move very much despite an important economic report I read.
That's correct. Surprisingly, the news on retail sales and CPI really did have little impact on the Canadian dollar.
We just had a nice rally here in the last few weeks.
Yes, huge rally, mainly because of weakness in the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar continues going lower. Of course, that's good for gold and gold stocks.
And also second quarter earnings reports came out.
Yeah, the second quarter reports by Canada's largest companies could be a pleasant surprise when they start coming out next week. Second quarter consensus earnings per share estimates on average show an increase of 11.3% for the top 60 companies in Canada. 47 companies are expected to report higher earnings. Only 8 companies are expected to report lower earnings. Companies expected to report the highest percentage gains include base metal stocks such as Teck Resources. Honorable mention can be given to the energy companies that will move from a loss last year to a small profit this year.
We just have a few seconds, Don. This is the seasonal time of year we look for a low in gold and silver, is it not?
It is the season for gold and silver. They had a great week last week on moving above their 50-day moving averages for both gold and for gold equities. Stick with it for a seasonal trade right through until September.
Thank you, Don. Don VIALOUX from equityclock.com and timingthemarket.ca. Thanks for joining us, and talk to you next week. Thank you, Don. And speaking about the gold, we did shoot up to the 1256 level, and everybody was panicking back in early July, right after the 4th of July, when gold got down to 1207. It looked like a perfect setup, at least to me, in terms of the beginning of a bounce, particularly as Don just indicated, the seasonality coming into play at this time of year. Silver is still languishing a little bit, but it's creeping back up there. It got down to $15.15 an ounce and rallied up to $16.61 on Friday. Frankly, I still think it has potential into the 20s in the months ahead, or maybe even mid-20s, so let's see how all that unfolds. But we are in that seasonal positive period now. Thing is, we always have to deal with the rigging of this market, and my good friends at GATA.org talk about that, and hopefully I'll have Bill Murphy back on the show in the near future. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with our good friend Henry Weingarten.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back, my good friend for many, many years and great interviewee on our Wall Street Raw program, Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund. And he's only been doing this for about 50 years, but a great track record and recent great calls were the cement stock, Trump's success, and the move in gold. And also the big call we very negligent if we don't mention was the big break in Tesla, which Henry also predicted in recent weeks. Henry, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. As you know, or you may know, yesterday we tweeted out that we're within 2 to 3 weeks of a top. In fact, we may have seen the top very short term yesterday. A lot of people are seeing the same thing, which is a good sign. Markets are high enough. That doesn't mean they won't be a little higher at the end of the year. But as we get into this month, as we certainly get by the first week of August, if you want to be protected against the possible 3 to 5 to 10% downside move, you have to act now. And now means in the next 2 weeks before August, first week of August. You don't have to act because I think markets will come back up. But if you do want to do some shorting, if you do want to buy some puts, if you do want to write some calls, this is the time to do so. Basically, the S&P, the Dow is starting to get hit, as we had mentioned. NASDAQ is going to get hit again in September. And these markets are pretty high up. So if you've got profits, you want to lock it in. On the other hand, like myself, I'm taking a vacation for 2 weeks. I don't really care.
Okay, would you be you'd be long gold now? We're in a seasonal bottom for gold, correct?
Absolutely. We did our last buy at 12.10. We did a couple of others that were stopped out, but 12.10. Now we're at the 12.50 level. It can stick here. Belongs to 13.50. One's crazy not to own some gold or some gold stocks. Whether it goes down again doesn't matter. It can at least be this high or higher, and should be higher at the end of the year. So it's certainly a time to own some if you don't own some. Absolutely.
Thank you, Henry, for joining us. He was very patient. We were late getting to him, but thank you again, Henry, and we'll talk to you next week. We're talking to Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund, and we'll be back again real soon. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. And again, I want to thank all of you for joining Wall Street Raw, which is my financial, political, musical, and spiritual program where we look at the past, and it's my time machine for doing so. And that's why you hear some really cool music from the past and a little bit retro, of course, but this is me. It's Mark Leibovit, and I enjoy doing the show because of the time machine aspect of it. And most of the pieces that you hear, the segues during the show, by the way, come from various time machine films. So if you want more details on that, we can always talk about that at another point in time. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about marijuana this week. I produced the Cannabis Vice letter, and I'm very proud of that. I launched that back in 2014. I was one of the first out there doing that. And in fact, it's a cool story where I'm in Vancouver as a keynote speaker in early 2014. And I was asked at that conference, the World Outlook Conference, where do I see opportunities ahead? Where do I see opportunities coming? What sectors? And I mentioned marijuana, and I'm standing in front of an audience of about 1,200 people, and they broke out laughing. Well, now they asked me back because I'm the guru in that space, because I predicted the big move which we've seen in recent years, and it's still in its early stages. The only reason why marijuana is illegal is because of economics. If marijuana was illegal, it would cost pharmaceutical and alcohol companies billions of dollars every year. The Partnership for a Drug-Free America is funded by alcohol companies. Alcohol is a sanctioned drug, as you probably know. So marijuana has the ability to treat a number of debilitating diseases and improve the daily life of millions of people around the world. My focus has been on the medical marijuana stocks, and again, go to vrtrader.com. You can read about my Cannabis Vice letter. Well, 10 illnesses that can be treated by marijuana. Let's try to go over those with you. Marijuana can be used to treat and prevent glaucoma, according to the National Eye Institute. Marijuana decreases the pressure inside the eye. Studies in the early 1970s show that marijuana, when smoked, lower intraocular pressure, that's IOP, in people with normal pressure and those with glaucoma. Marijuana helps reverse the carcinogenic effects of tobacco and improves lung health. In January 2012, a study was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, which said marijuana does not impair lung function, and it can even increase lung capacity. Marijuana can help control epileptic seizures. Charlotte Figi suffers from Dravet's syndrome, and strain of marijuana called Charlotte's Web was decreased, and Charlotte's seizures from 300 a week to just about one every 7 days. She was instrumental there. Marijuana can decrease anxiety. In 2010, researchers at Harvard Medical School suggested that some of marijuana's benefits can be associated with reduced anxiety. The THC component, which is the psychoactive component in marijuana, slows the progression of Alzheimer's disease. A study led by Kim Janda of the Scripps Research Institute suggests that marijuana may be able to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. And in 2006, the study published in the Journal of Molecular Pharmaceutics found that THC, the active chemical in marijuana, as I just mentioned, slows the formation of amyloid plaques by blocking enzyme in the brain that makes them. These plaques are what kill brain cells and cause Alzheimer's. Marijuana also helps ease the pain associated with multiple sclerosis. GW Pharmaceuticals, that's GWPH, it's one of our recommended stocks and has been for the last several years. In our letter, has developed a drug derived from cannabis called Sativex, which helps patients who suffer from multiple sclerosis. Marijuana relieves arthritic discomfort. In 2011, researchers said that the marijuana that they studied alleviates pain, reduces inflammation, and promotes sleep, which may help relieve pain for people suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. Marijuana can potentially eliminate Crohn's disease. A study in Israel, and a lot of research, by the way, comes out of Israel, Very excited about that. It has since the 1970s. And the study in Israel showed that smoking a joint significantly reduced Crohn's disease. I should point out that there's alternate ways of getting marijuana. You don't have to smoke the stuff. There's oils and creams and all kinds of cool stuff coming out now. But anyway, that study showed that Crohn's disease symptoms in 10 out of 11 patients was improved, caused complete remission in 5 of those patients. Marijuana helps veterans suffering from PTSD. The Department of Health and Human Services recently signed off on a proposal to study marijuana's potential as part of the treatment for veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. Marijuana reduces some of the pain and nausea from chemotherapy and stimulates appetite. One of the guests we've had on the show here in recent weeks, Doug DeSante, who's doing an offering which I've invested in, and I also was paid to do a research report for Greenleaf Growth Fund, GLIF, and they are, what are they doing? Well, they're a REIT, and they're acquiring warehouses and leasing space to the cannabis growers. But the interesting story there with Doug, and what I got so excited about getting him involved was he witnessed I believe it was his uncle or grandfather, I think it was his grandfather, suffering from cancer at the very late stage of his life, and the marijuana he was taking made him feel a lot better at the end. In fact, even in Doug's interview, he talks to me about, and I may play that interview again, how he thought his grandfather was recovering because the marijuana was helping him so much, and he acted so well in the hospital. So these are really important factors, folks, and it's you understand the drug companies and the big pharmaceuticals, and the powers that be out there have been suppressing marijuana for many, many years. You got to keep in mind it's around 5,000 years. It's not just something that's been created. And if you watch all the television commercials about drugs, and I'm sure you do because we're inundated with those all the time, what happens? They tell you how great a drug is, and the first 5 or 10 seconds of the commercial, and the rest of the commercial, they tell you how it can kill you or make you very sick. Marijuana doesn't do that. I mean, you might have a little side effect from it. Maybe you feel a little happy or gay or a little tired. If you overdose it, I suppose you get a little upset for a while there and feel a little less, dizzy or whatever. But the bottom line is, it doesn't have those effects. And I'm very impressed by the research out there, and this is why I created the Cannabis Vice letter as I did, because I really saw that opportunity, and many of the individual stocks have explosive moves, and we also have the play in Canada. Canada doesn't have the federal legislation that's negative, which, by the way, is going to change in this country. So a lot of great plays and trades that we're putting out in our Cannabis Vice letter are Canadian plays, which many feel are safer because of the Canadian situation. So a lot of things to talk about, and I really appreciate you listening to my little spiel here about marijuana, because it's really something new and exciting. And as we do each week, we close our show with what our old friend Ed Hart used to say on the old Financial News Network from many decades ago, when he closed as we close, and by saying, "We will know in the fullness of time." Speak to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show, or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.